Welcome to Daily Announcer, your daily dose of news and insights. Today, we bring you the inspiring story of Professor Haile Gerima, the legendary Ethiopian filmmaker, scholar, and activist who challenged Hollywood, empowered black cinema, and gave a voice to Africa's untold stories. Haile Gerima is one of the most influential filmmakers in African and world cinema, a visionary director, professor, and storyteller who has devoted his life to reclaiming African history through film and empowering new generations to tell their own stories. Early life and education. Haile Gerima was born in Gondar, Ethiopia, in 1946, during a time when Ethiopia was rebuilding after the Italian occupation. His father was a playwright and actor, and his mother was a storyteller, influences that deeply shaped his creative imagination. Growing up, young Haile was surrounded by traditional Ethiopian drama and folklore, which later became the foundation of his cinematic voice. In the late 1960s, Gerima moved to the United States to study theater and film. He first attended Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, then joined the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, where he became part of a revolutionary movement in American cinema known as the LA Rebellion, a group of African and African-American filmmakers determined to create stories outside Hollywood's control and stereotypes. Rise as an independent filmmaker. Haile Gerima's early films at UCLA, such as Child of Resistance, 1972, and Bush Mama, 1975, portrayed the struggles of black communities in America with realism and emotional power. His works rejected the glossy, profit-driven world of Hollywood and focused instead on truth, identity, and liberation. Gerima believed that cinema should serve as a weapon for awareness and change, not just entertainment. In 1982, he released Ashes and Embers, which explored the pain and confusion of a black Vietnam veteran returning home. The film was bold, poetic, and deeply political. Early works and first masterpiece, Harvest, 3,000 Years, 1976. Gerima's early short films, Hourglass, 1971, Child of Resistance, 1972, and Bush Mama, 1975, dealt with oppression, resistance, and awakening within black communities. His first feature-length Ethiopian film, Harvest, 3,000 Years, filmed in black and white during Ethiopia's revolutionary era, became a landmark in African cinema. It tells the story of a peasant family's struggle under an oppressive landlord, blending realism and poetic symbolism to reveal centuries of exploitation and endurance. The film earned the grand prize at the Locarno Film Festival, 1976, and marked Gerima's emergence as a global filmmaker of conscience and vision. Breaking barriers and independent vision. In the 1980s, Gerima continued to challenge conventions. His film Ashes and Embers, 1982, explored the alienation of a black Vietnam War veteran and won the Fipressi Prize at the Berlin International Film Festival. Through this and later works, Gerima positioned himself as a fearless independent voice, uncompromising in his art and devoted to telling stories of identity, struggle, and redemption. Sankofa, a masterpiece of memory. In 1993, Gerima released his most famous film, Sankofa. The title comes from an Akan word meaning, to go back and retrieve what was lost. The movie follows a modern African-American model who is transported back in time to a slave plantation, forcing her to experience the brutal reality of slavery firsthand. Sankofa is not just a film, it's a spiritual and emotional journey, urging African people everywhere to reconnect with their history and reclaim their identity. Rejected by mainstream distributors, Gerima self-financed, produced, and distributed Sankofa, a revolutionary act in itself. He and his wife, Shirikiana Aina, personally traveled across cities, showing the film in community centers, churches, and universities. Despite Hollywood's rejection, Sankofa became an international success, winning awards at major film festivals and becoming a classic of African and diasporic cinema. Returned to Ethiopia and continued work. After Sankofa, Gerima continued to create powerful works rooted in African identity and memory. His documentary Imperfect Journey, 1994, examined Ethiopia's pain and recovery after years of dictatorship. His historical documentary Adwa, An African Victory, 1999, celebrated Ethiopia's 1896 defeat of Italian colonial forces, a moment of immense pride in African history. Adwa, An African Victory, 1999, The Power of Unity. After Sankofa, Gerima returned his lens to Ethiopia's proudest historical triumph. The 1896 Battle of Adwa, where Ethiopian forces defeated Italian colonizers. Adwa, An African Victory, 1999, is a masterful historical documentary combining oral testimonies, archival material, and Gerima's passionate narration to tell the story of resistance, courage, and unity. The film celebrates Ethiopia as a symbol of African independence and collective strength, inspiring generations across the continent and the diaspora. Teza, 2008, Exile, Memory, and Redemption. In 2008, Gerima released another masterpiece, Teza, a deeply personal and poetic reflection on exile, memory, and lost dreams. The film follows Anberber, an Ethiopian intellectual returning home after years of study in Europe, only to face dictatorship and disillusionment during the Derg regime. Through fragmented memories, Teza meditates on the pain of displacement and the longing for identity. The film received the Special Jury Prize and Best Screenplay at the Venice Film Festival, reaffirming Gerima's place among the world's great filmmakers. Black Lions, Roman Wolves, Children of Adwa, The Lion of Judah, upcoming 2025. Gerima's new and highly anticipated project, Black Lions, Roman Wolves, Children of Adwa, also known by supporters as The Lion of Judah, 2025, continues the story begun in Adwa, An African Victory. This upcoming documentary explores Ethiopia's fierce resistance during the Second Italo-Ethiopian War, 1935 to 1941, when Mussolini's fascist army invaded Ethiopia. The film examines how the legacy of Adwa's victory carried forward into this new chapter of struggle and defiance. True to his lifelong vision, Gerima uses this film to reclaim Africa's narrative, connecting generations of warriors, mothers, and children who fought for freedom and dignity. Teacher, mentor, and cultural leader. Since 1975, Haile Gerima has been a professor of film at Howard University in Washington, D.C., where he has inspired countless young filmmakers from across the world. His teaching emphasizes self-reliance, cultural memory, and artistic integrity. Together with his wife, he founded the Sankofa Video, Books and Cafe, a beloved cultural hub near Howard University that promotes Black literature, independent film, and community dialogue. It remains a living extension of his cinematic mission, education through culture. Inspirational speech, You Must Be the One. In his speech at the Ethiopian Community Association of Greater Philadelphia's 30th anniversary, Haile Gerima delivered a powerful message to the Ethiopian diaspora and the broader African community. He emphasized the importance of self-reliance, cultural preservation, and the responsibility of individuals to contribute to the collective good. Gerima urged the audience to take ownership of their narratives and to actively participate in shaping their communities.
I want to tell you something. You're too young, but you don't know how much in your veins you carry a genomics that began the world.
Thank you.
You are the descendants of the Kush people from the Nile. Every music in the world, every dance in the world came from the Nile Valley. Don't you ever forget that.
Sankofa Bookstore and Cultural Legacy. Together with his wife, Gerima founded the Sankofa Video, Books and Cafe, located near Howard University. It became a cultural hub. A place for artists, activists, and thinkers to gather, share ideas, and celebrate Black creativity. Through his bookstore and his films, Haile Gerima continues to advocate for self-determination in art, the belief that Africans must tell their own stories, in their own voices, without depending on Western systems of approval. Awards and recognition. Gerima's work has received global recognition. His film Teza, 2008, set in Ethiopia during the Derg regime, won multiple international awards, including the Special Jury Prize at the Venice Film Festival. In 2021, he was honored by Ava DuVernay and the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures for his lifelong contribution to independent Black cinema. Despite being celebrated worldwide, Haile Gerima remains humble, continuing to teach, create, and inspire. Philosophy and impact. Haile Gerima once said, "I am not a filmmaker for Hollywood. I am a filmmaker for my people." His mission has always been to use cinema as a mirror for liberation, helping audiences see themselves with pride, power, and truth. Today, his legacy lives on through the countless filmmakers he inspired, the communities he empowered, and the stories he preserved for future generations. Legacy. From Harvest, 3,000 Years to Sankofa, Adwa, Teza, and the forthcoming Black Lions, Roman Wolves, Haile Gerima has built one of the most powerful bodies of work in African film history. His art tells the story of Africa not through colonial eyes, but through the hearts of its people, fierce, proud, and unbroken. Through his films, teaching, and activism, Haile Gerima remains a guiding light for artists everywhere who dare to tell their own stories and reclaim their history. Haile Gerima's life and work remind us that storytelling is not just an art, it is a responsibility. As he passionately declared in his speech, "You must be the one to preserve your culture, shape your narrative, and inspire change." Through his films, teachings, and activism, Gerima exemplifies the power of courage, creativity, and conviction. His legacy calls on each of us to step forward, reclaim our stories, and contribute to a world where truth, memory, and freedom shine brightly for generations to come. This is Daily Announcer. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories from around the world.